All right, so we created the first portion of this in part one. Now we're on to part two. We have a new section, so we're going to give each section its own box. I'm going to take this education section and then draw a new text box for the skills section, which is going to go just below that section. So I'm going to copy my skills information from my document to the left here and paste it in. Now you'll notice it pastes in and it does not look the same. So rather than going through all of the steps of how to do that same thing, we're going to use character styles. So character styles allow us to establish rules for how our text looks. So I want all of my headlines to look just like this. I'm going to highlight this text, go Window, Styles, Character Styles. The Character Styles panel says none because I don't have any yet. So with that text highlighted, I'm going to click the New Style. And that creates a style that looks just like this. So it's called Character Style 1. I'm going to rename this Headline. Say OK. So if I want skills to have the same formatting, I highlight the word skills, click Headline, and it applies the same formatting to it. So in this case, we don't need this second level headline that we've created. We just need the rest of the text. So I'm going to highlight this text. I'm going to say New Style, and this time it's going to be body copy, which is what most of the copy will be. So I'm going to say OK. Highlight these skills, hit body copy, and it keeps the same formatting. Now part of what I want to do in the skills section is I want to have several columns. So I'm going to grab my move tool here, and I make my box a little smaller, and then the options I have for columns I find at the top of the control bar. So up here I'm going to go 1, 2, so that I have 3 different columns. Now I know that I want each of these bullet points to be on its own line, so I'm going to shift return to move each bullet point down to its own line. Okay, so I have a bunch of space here. If I make this shorter, it'll start to drop those into their own columns. So each time I see one of these bullet points, I'm doing shift return to pull that down. Now I can adjust how these look. I can pull this box a little bit bigger and it'll change the amount of information. So ideally, I would love to be able to have SEO copywriting for the web in its own space. So I can play with that until I get them, oops, Command Z there, until I get them into their own space. I can also consider potentially for this area changing the font size to a point smaller and seeing if that gives me the flexibility that I'd like to have. So I think I'm actually going to take our headline out of the box. So Command X to cut it out, Command Z to paste it, and then it'll allow me to get to fine-tune my spacing a little bit better. So I know I want 3 columns here and make those columns easy. Pull this down, make this smaller, and drop it there above my section. Okay, so now I have skills, and I have my skills listed. Oh, let's not change that. Sorry, the part of me just wants to make that box a little bit smaller. So I have skills there. Now I need a new section, and I'm going to call it experience. So I'm going to go ahead and make the box for my headline. Copy over the word experience here. Ooh, let's hit the W key again so I can see all my boxes. So I'm going to highlight experience, go to character styles, highlight headline, and that's got the proper formatting. Now under experience, I have jobs and job descriptions, so I'm going to need both of these settings that I created here. So I'll create another box here, put this experience in. The first experience I have is on this side, so I'm going to copy that and paste it here. And I need to apply my sub headline. So we're going to go, oh, I'm sorry, I need to make one for my sub headline. So I've highlighted the text here. And then I'm going to say, instead of character style 1, this is going to be sub headline. I'm going to say OK, apply that sub headline to this section, and then apply for the rest of the text, apply that body copy. So I'm highlighting the text, selecting body copy here. I'd like a little bit of space between these 2 lines, so I'm going to soft return there and change this to that 4-point leading. So it has the same space between it as the ones above. Let's get a little bit higher here. Okay, so I want to have a line that kind of designates the end of one part of experience and the beginning of another. So I'm going to hold down Shift and draw a line here with my line tool. I want this line to be a dashed line, so I'm going to change it to dashes, and then I'm going to see what it looks like. So that's a little bit intense. I'd rather have the dashes be smaller, so I can change the point size to 0.5. That's still pretty big, so let's try 0.2. So that's a little bit less overt. There are even some dashed options somewhere, but we'll leave that here. So I need to add the rest of my experience and then a new subsection called involvement and membership. So I'm going to go ahead and pause. You know how now to build out the other parts, and we'll pick up in part 3 once we've built out those other 2 parts and we're ready for the next subsection.